Welcome. So today this is going to be a political video, and there's a part of me that wrestles with it because I'm thinking, like, just stick to talking about Jesus. And I was looking at, actually I heard somebody say that conservatives and Christians have exited the conversation as to what's going on in the world. And I would have to agree. You know, you look at our schools and you wonder, how is it that our kids are being indoctrinated? But when curriculums came up that we didn't agree with, instead of us fighting and saying, no, my child is not going to be taught this, we ran from the conversation and the responsibility, and we just snatched our kids out of schools. I know a lot of parents that just chose to homeschool their kids because they didn't want their kids being taught in public schools. So I would like to join the conversation. The number one thing that I just want to say right now, I am going to be doing a walk away video, which is really my walk into politics. But the one thing that I could say that the Democrat Party has mastered is the art of storytelling. I'm seeing a lot of people say, you know, make America great again. He's done such a great job. And they're listing all of the chaos that is happening in the United States. And they all point it to the president. And as I'm reading through this list, I'm thinking, wait a minute. All right, so look at the chaos in the street. So you think the chaos in the street is the president's fault. It has absolutely nothing to do with Democrats and their no bail law. You get busted for a crime, you don't have to pay anything. You get released right back into the street. You're telling me the chaos had nothing to do with them releasing prisoners from prison? That had nothing to do with the chaos that's happening in the street. You're telling me that allowing rioters, peaceful protesters to cause havoc in the street and not be reprimanded, but they were given the green light to continue in what they were doing. Cops were told to step down. And then the conversation went into defund the police. That had nothing to do with policy. You're talking about unemployment rate. Okay. The country's still locked down, a lot of it. A lot of it's opening back up. But if you're looking at the unemployment rate, the president wanted to open the country back up on Resurrection Day. He said, wouldn't it be great? On Resurrection Day, we resurrect the country. And Democrats was like, wait a minute, you don't have that power and authority to do that. Okay, well then I leave it up to you. You run your states. Run your states. They continued with their lockdown policies. In New York, Mayor de Blasio just said, we're not opening up our restaurants. We're not doing any of that. To me, when I hear that, I think about them stripping away your right to choose. I mean, they're all about your choice, but they don't give you the right to choose. Even when you go into a medical procedure, the doctor tells you, you can get the procedure done, but these are the side effects. Why can't we as Americans have that choice? Like, you can walk into a barbershop, but there's a possibility you could catch COVID. They don't even give you that option. And it's gotten to the point where a lot of these Democrat mayors and governors are stripping people's licenses away, completely closing their businesses down because they refuse to comply. How is that free? When did this become America? I just don't understand. You're talking about the death rate. Oh, it's his fault that COVID has spread to the degree that it has. Really? A lot of the people that died were elderly. And that had nothing to do with Democrat mayors putting sick patients into nursing homes and infecting them and killing them by the thousands. That had nothing to do with that. And if COVID is so extremely dangerous and it's that dire, why feel the need to inflate numbers? But you could get hit by a car and they would write it down as COVID. I mean, if it's that dangerous, why need to lie? I mean, I wouldn't have to. The proof is there. But that's not what they did. I never understood how important policies was until it came to my doorstep. And you could look at, again, at Democrat mayors and governors. They were okay with protesters protesting in the street until it came to their doorstep. And when it came to their doorstep, then they began to stand up and say, wait a minute, y'all can't do this. So it's okay for them to tear down and destroy other people's stuff. Just don't bring it here. How is that right? But going back to me and not understanding the importance of policy, I heard when COVID started how they were locking down hospitals and people weren't able to see their loved ones and they were dying alone. I heard about it, but it never hit home. I was just like, yo, that's crazy, you know? Until a loved one of mine ended up in the hospital and I didn't get to see them for 3 weeks. They told me that if it got that bad and they were on their last breath, you could come in for 30 minutes before they die. And I'm thinking, 30 minutes? You have isolated these people to die alone. You know what they do to prisoners when they want to punish them? They isolate them. You are isolating these people in solitary to die alone. This person that I love was in a private room. And I couldn't even sit with them. When we know that family is an important unit to the healing process. It is an important piece to the healing process. Doctors know this, but yet they won't allow patients that are fighting for their lives to be in a room alone with the people that love them. I didn't understand it, how important policies were, until it affected me directly. And then I began to look at other people and I saw that not only just those policies that affected me, but policies that are affecting people around the world. You're talking about convicts out on the street, people that are committing crimes that are allowed to be back in the street within the same day. And the crime rate is rising, the murder rate is rising. These are all cause and effect to terrible policies. They affect all of the people in the community. Not being able to fend or provide for your family. Not because you're unable, but because the government has enabled you to do that. These are all policies. Don't give me this crap about how the president is destroying the country. You really need to begin to look at your governors and your mayors. I don't know if you guys know this, but there was actually 7 states that never closed. They never closed. They never went yellow. They never went red. They remained green the entire time. And they're doing just fine. Doing just fine. Even the states that are slowly opening up. But Democrat states are still continuing to hold this tight grip. They are purposely destroying their own states and hurting directly the people that live within them. And I think it's time for us to really stand up and begin to take part in the conversation. I believe 100% that our words are important. If you go back and you look at things that have happened within our country, it all started with words. The fight that began at the border, it started with they're holding concentration camps. Now everybody's outraged, even to the point where there were violent attacks on the border because of these people in concentration camps. Recently, with the whole mail-in ballot thing, they released the name, and because of the outrage over the mail-in ballots, these people literally went to this person's house and protested in front of their house. Our words matter, and we need to engage the conversation. I do not believe in bashing people per se, but I do think that we should call out their policies. I don't hate anybody, not on either side of the aisle. But when the policy is wrong, something needs to be said. And I 100% believe that Democrat policies are dangerous. They do nothing but cripple and destroy. They bring chaos in everything that they put their hands in. And I really don't think that these people need any more power at all. My only thing is, I just say, please take a step back and look at the whole picture. These Democrat policies have caused the breeding ground for the chaos that has taken place in the country. And the only thing that they've done is they've done a very excellent job of telling a story on how it's the president's fault. So you're telling me that your policies that directly affected all of the people within your state is somehow the president's fault? I don't buy it. But at the end of it all, I say that we should pray for our president and for our leaders, because whether you like any of them or not, it's irrelevant. These people on both sides are in charge of governing the country. They put in policies that govern the country and directly affect the people that live within it. And whether you like it or not, they need to work together. So lift up the president, lift up governors, mayors, or senators, all of them. Lift them all up. And also lift your voice. Take part in the conversation. So yeah, that's all I want to say for today. And I know that you've been blessed in your hearing. And as always, family, grace and peace.